Okay, so today we're going to be making a crocheted pop can cover, or you could use it for a water bottle, but I would suggest making it a bit taller if that's what you plan to use it for. I'm going to do mine striped. You could do multiple colors or just one color, but I'm going to be doing just two colors. I'm using an F crochet hook, scissors. I've got a couple buttons I might stitch on afterwards. I'm not sure yet, but I just got those at Walmart. My yarn needles and my pill container so that kids don't get to them, or cats. And then I'm just using worsted weight acrylic yarn. I have this nice Kelly green, and I have this, I would say, kind of seafoam sort of green. So I think they look nice together. So my hands are a little scratched up because I was playing with the kitties. So we're going to start by chaining 3, and then in that first chain that you did, we will be half double crochet. We're going to do 8 half double crochet. So to do a half double crochet, you yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. So that's a half double crochet. It's a pretty basic one, but it's still nice to have a reminder. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Pull that tight. And then I'm going to count back because I should have 8 stitches, and I want to make sure that I'm going into my 8th stitch, well, my first stitch, and not into one of the chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I'm just gonna do a quick slip stitch there and chain 2, which we are not counting that chain 2 at all. So these next 2 rows 2 and 3, because that was row 1. For one, I always like to put my tail and use that as a bit of a stitch marker because it's easier to have on hand than normal stitch markers sometimes. So in where you did the slip stitch, you're going to do 2 half double crochets. You're going to do that in every stitch around for the next 2 rows. So rows 2 and 3 are just increase half double crochet around, and you will, at the end of each row, you do it the same as you did before, where you just slip stitch and chain 2, and then you do not count that chain 2 at all. So I'm almost done with this row. Doing 1 round of increases, we should have 16 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So I'm going to finish off this row by doing a quick slip stitch, chain 2, and then I'm just going to repeat that, and I'll be right back. So I'm back. I just did the increase around again. So now I have 32 stitches, and again I'm just gonna slip stitch into that first half double crochet. The cat's back. Sorry about any noise in the background. I've got laundry going. So Now what we're going to do, chain 2 again, and then, I don't need that right there, I need it up here. So chain 2, and then you're going to half double crochet around in the back loop only. And remember that chain 2, we're not counting that. So the same space that you did the slip stitch is where you're doing your first half double crochet. And at this point it should be about the size of the bottom of a water bottle or a pop can, but it's okay if it's a bit smaller because it will stretch. So we're just going to half double crochet around. So I've half double crocheted around, and in the back loop only, which leaves this nice kind of line, and I've reached the slip stitch and chain 2. So remember, we're ignoring slip stitch, chain 2, and then here is where it gets a little bit different because I want mine to be striped. So I'm not going to bother making a slip knot or anything. You're just going to pull it through, and that's how you're going to do your slip stitch, because that's how you get a much cleaner join. You're going to get a much cleaner join that way. So then you chain 2, and again, ignore that ignore the slip stitch area or anything. That's where you start. So, and once again, we're just gonna half double crochet around. So I will meet you back when I am finishing up this round. And remember, we're doing back loop only because it helps divide the stripes a bit better, I think. Okay, so I've reached the end of my row, and you may have noticed that when I changed colors, I didn't cut my darker green, and that is because we are going to be carrying it, because that gives us fewer ends to weave in. Now if you really want, you can cut at the end of each row, but for one, it's going to be inside, so you're not really going to see it if it's being used at all. But just doing it this way, you have a lot fewer ends. So first thing, before you switch colors, you want to tug on this a little bit to kind of tighten that. And then slip stitch the 2 chains, and that is that first half double crochet is where we join. And once again, we just chain 2, ignore that all, and half double crochet in the back loop only of that first stitch, and then continue around. And we're just going to continue in this manner, keep doing this for 12 more rows. Well, 12 rows of the sides, I think. We're doing a total of 16 rows, but the last one is going to be a bit tighter, so I'll get back to you when we get there. But yeah, so the bottom is 3 rows, and then 4, 5, 6. So that is where we are right now. When we are finishing up row 15, I will meet you back here. And I might weave in my starting ends real quick. Just a moment. I might weave those in real quick just so that they aren't in my way. So I'll meet you back in a minute. Alright, so we have done 15 rows so far, and that's the beginning of the round all around. So to count our rounds, we know we did 3 for the bottom, so 1, 2, 3, and then that bottom green is 4. So then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we've done 15 rows so far. And and something that I prefer to do just because I feel like it makes it a little more secure. Firstly, you can snip off that one, and then our last row, what we will be doing, we're going to work the stitches a bit tighter than normal because I feel like that helps keep it on the can a bit better. So there's our slip stitch, chain 2, and then slip stitch in the first half double crochet, chain 2, and then so what you could do, you could switch to a smaller hook. That can be a bit more consistent, and if you're going to do a lot of tighter stitches, that's what you would want to do. But this isn't a whole lot, and I don't want to hunt down a hook right now. So something that you can do that will make your stitches tighter, which is why you don't always do this, just hold everything tighter. Grip your piece, grip the yarn, grip your hook. Gripping everything a little bit tighter will make your stitches tighter. Again, I do not recommend doing this normally or for a lot of stitches. If you have a smaller hook handy, go for that. But if you've got, if you've only got a few stitches to do, and your hands aren't hurting, then this is a way that you can do it. Is just kind of grip onto everything a little bit more firmly. So you're just gonna go around, and don't worry about if you're tugging the back loops. Those will sort themselves out a bit when you stretch it out, when you're putting it on a can. That'll sort itself out. Just a few more to go. And I mean, of course, you don't have to do the whole piece in back loop only, or, you really do what you want for the look you want. I'm gonna add a couple of buttons to this one, I think. I also have a little charm that I made that I'm gonna put on it, which I'm gonna try to do a short on how to make it. You could put buttons on, you could put patches. I might make one for my mom and put a little applique on it, which there's an applique pattern for anything on Etsy or Ravelry. All you gotta do is look. So and then got to the end, slip stitch the 2 chains, and then that first half double crochet, we're just gonna slip stitch. This time I'm chaining 1 because I want it to be a bit more secure. Trim your yarn and pull it tight. So now, time to weave the ends in. I decided to wait until I get to this point to weave those other ends in. Partially because I didn't want to do them. But I know that the joins aren't perfect, and that's probably from the slip stitches, I think, now that I look at it. So I might try slip stitching in the back loop as well. But I mean, it kind of, to me, it goes to show that, I've been crocheting for years and years, and I'm still learning. So it's always a learning process, and that's something that I really enjoy about it. Is it just, the best way I can put it is, it kind of scratches that itch in my brain of just learning something new. But it still feels like useful information. I like to bring the thread to the outside of the work so I can see it a bit better and make sure that I'm hiding it how I want. Because if I do it on the back, you know, it might look perfect and all hidden on the back, but then you bring it to the front and, you know, you have this big old thread sticking out, and it's like, well, that's not going to work. So that's why I prefer to weave my ends in on the visible side. And I know some people just do the one pass, but I feel a bit more comfortable doing 2 passes. That's how my mom showed me how to do it. So, got that one with us. But yeah, I mean the 16 rows or rounds, though that's good for with my gauge intention and everything, it's good for a pop can. You know, try it on yours as you go. You know, adjust to fit your needs. I knew somebody, they got so mad when I would call soda pop. She'd go, no, it's soda. I'd go, hey, you're from Alabama, so it's supposed to be Coke. But where I'm from, we call it pop, because the bubbles go pop. At least that's how much I figure. So if you just want it striped, there you go. And again, you want it to be a little bit snug. But there you go. If you just want it striped. I've got these little ladybug buttons that I think I'm going to put on there. Let me see if my yarn needle fits through the hole, so we're just going to go for it. Just a moment. Just have to help my daughter then thread this. So I'm just taking a couple of my ends, actually, that I trimmed off after weaving in my ends. And, you know, I have this green one. So let's say he lives here now. So what we're going to do, we're going to pull it through, leave a little bit of a tail inside, get our new little buddy. Just a moment. Okay, so get your button on there. I'm just going to do one quick pass, go through again, and then go down. And then, because we've got the 2 kind of longer ends, I'm going to tie those together. And if you want, you can just snip these kind of short, because again, it's on the inside, but I will probably weave those ends in, just because I like my things to be secure. So, because this is the color I've got right here, that's what we're going to use, because my other 2 ends are kind of short. I'm going to put him down here. I want him by his friend. So bring that up, make sure to leave a little tail inside. And then just a quick boop. If you want it at an angle, make sure you put it at an angle. And then a quick couple of passes. Kind of turn it inside out so you can see a little better. Nice tight double knot, little square knot. And then I'm going to weave those ends in real quick. So there we go. And then I've got this little charm that I made. I'm going to try to do a video on that here shortly. I'm probably just going to do a little YouTube short. But just going to clip that right on there, and there we go. I think it's really cute. But yeah, I mean, it'll fit on a water bottle, and you can make it taller to fit if you want it specifically just for water bottles. But yeah, I think it's a really cute gift. Works up pretty quick. Probably took me about an hour, which sounds like a long time, but by crafting standards, it's a pretty quick project. If you decide to make one, let me know how it went, what colors you chose, if you decided to add anything, all of that. I love seeing what other people make. And then if you have any suggestions for things that I can make patterns for, or if you have suggestions on how I can make my videos or my patterns better, please let me know. Put it down in the comments. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it. Subscribe if you want to see more things like this. And I hope to see you next time. God bless.